What's going on, everybody? My name is Mason Marquis. I'm joined with
Jackson Gamber.
This is episode 3 of the Sports Key podcast, Money Moves.
Yes, sir.
It's called Money Moves because we officially have our first partnership. We're teaming up with a company called Buttery.Soles to do a gift card giveaway for you guys. It's going to be a $25 gift card giveaway to Buttery.Soles. This is their Instagram. It's a shoe company. They always give out really good high-end shoes, and they always have good prices. You've bought from them before. Anything you want to say specifically about their shoes?
Just everything's, high quality, no reps, and their store is really nice inside, and everything is just great.
Yeah, so the way this is going to go down, we're going to tell you guys how you can enter at the end of the video, and then next week's video we're going to announce the winner, and we're going to give Buttery.Soles the information to reach out to you guys directly, so you can buy their shoes in person at their stores or online on their Instagram. They're trustworthy, and we're going to send them your information once we pick our winner, and we're going to do that live. We're going to spin a wheel live for them so they know it's truthful.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're going to jump into the video. Start off with soccer today.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Okay, so this was a huge week for United States of America because Folarin Balogun announces that he is going to be playing with the U.S. Now, this kid is crazy. He was the first American to score 20-plus goals in the Ligue 1, the French league. He was just insane this season. He's on loan from Arsenal at Stade Reims, and he's just so good, and everyone doubted that he would come and play for the USA. Everyone said he'd play for England. Some people even said he'd play for Nigeria over us.
Yeah.
But he officially comes and announces that he is going to be playing for USA. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you see him benefiting the team in the future?
Yeah, I gotta say I'm excited. Like I said in episode 1, I first really started getting into the sport during the World Cup qualifiers, seeing Pulisic play, Tyler Adams, Gino Reyna, and dude, he is such a great young player, and over the next 3 years, he can only get better. I think this doesn't solidify the United States as an amazing team, but it definitely puts us on the map, and we're not going to be a team that other teams are excited to play.
Exactly.
I think going into even this World Cup and ones prior, they would see us in their group and be like, all right, this is a game we should win. Now it's going to be a game that we are in almost every game until the end. So I'm really excited. Now, do you think that he chose to play for the United States because he sees players like Pulisic, Tyler Adams making the team better, and he knows that with him they can compete for a championship potentially? Mm-hmm. Or do you think it's just that he wants a better opportunity because he knows he's not going to get that chance if he plays for England?
I honestly think it's a bit of both. I think he sees the potential at the U.S. team, and I think he realizes that, he can do a lot with them and definitely succeed with them, and they're definitely a young, up-and-coming team who can definitely just keep on improving and improving and improving.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Whereas England, they're just stacked.
It's hard to get an opportunity, especially as a
Exactly.
young guy.
Especially with Harry Kane, how are you going to get the top spot over Harry Kane, England's captain, England's number 9?
Yeah, and then you have so many young players on England as well, like Jude Bellingham. He's super young, and he's already making a huge impact for them. And then you also have guys like
Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, Saka. He's a young guy, so he's only going to get better over the next few years. So I think the opportunity is much more scarce in England. So I'm excited to have him. I think he puts our team on the map, and I think with him joining us, we have a great chance to compete in 2024, especially playing on our home turf for a lot of the matches. I'm excited. I'm hoping to go to one of those games. They're gonna have some in New Jersey, some in Pennsylvania.
Yep, some in Philly, and then some in New York.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we have a chance.
Before you keep going, I want to ask, do you think we'll do better or worse? Now, I also want to tell you something else. There isn't going to be 32 teams in this World Cup. There's going to be 64.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more teams. There's a lot more matches. do you think we will do better or worse?
I think that it really, like almost every World Cup, it depends on what pool you get put into. Like, this year, we saw we were in a pool with England, that, we came out of that game with a draw. England wasn't putting their best foot forward because they already knew they were moving on. But, we saw them, and we were like, ooh, that's going to be a tough game. So, if you get into a pool like that has a team like England, has a team like Germany, you're going to be a little bit scared going into the match regardless. But there's also so many teams that aren't as good. So I can't say we're going to do any better or any worse just because we don't know what type of pool we're going to be in. But I think we're going to be more competitive against any team this year.
Gotcha. And final predictions for the 2026 World Cup.
We're way out. We still got quite a few years.
Yeah, very, very long time.
But listen, am I extremely biased? Yes. Am I going to say this until we lose? Yes. The United States of America will win the 2026 World Cup. And I'm saying that because I'm an American and because I love the sport. And I want America to win one.
This is how I see it. So, with all the other teams, there's not going to be 32 teams. There's going to be 64, which that's a huge number.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of teams going against each other, which means it's a bigger bracket. It's going to be harder to get out of. So, realistically, I think that we are going to do exactly the same. So, make it to, maybe the round of 16. But I think it's better than last year because there's more teams, there's more competition, and it's just a lot harder to get out of the group stages and stuff like that.
Is the competition any better? Or is the competition the same in the rest and the other 32 teams? Like, of course, there's going to be that one team that no one expects to do well, that's going to do well, like in March Madness. There's always a 16 seed that does great.
Yeah.
But, truthfully, you know what the top 32 teams are.
Mm-hmm.
So you know where your team should place if they were to get rid of the other 32 teams. I'd say if you finish in the round of 16, you lose there. Then you still lose in the round of 16. Like, I don't think it's any better than if there were 32 teams or if there were 64 teams. Maybe that's just my take.
I really see it as it really just depends on literally anything. Like, more recently we saw the Scottish team turn up and just destroy, I think it was England. Maybe not destroy, but it was like 2-0 Scotland. And, that's just really surprising for, a team like Scotland
in
to
a
go against
way.
England. And at the same time, you have Italy, who didn't even qualify for the World Cup. When Italy didn't qualify, but they also just won the Euros. So it's like things change.
Yeah, I
just
agree,
like that.
but
Any team can just come out of nowhere and get on a run of good form, and I feel like it will be a lot harder to get out of the group stages.
The only thing that annoys me with this is it is another money move by FIFA.
Yeah,
They're only doing it to make more money.
mm-hmm.
And watching the World Cup qualifiers over the past couple years is when I fell in love with the game. Now these games are going to mean a lot less because so many more teams get in.
Yeah,
It's not going to bring as much excitement coming down to those last few matches to see who qualifies because there's so many more teams that are qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it exciting to see more teams in it? Yeah, but watching the qualifiers are not going to be exciting, in my opinion, but it's going to be exciting when I get to see a game live and in person, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about RBL Leipzig, or Leipzig, however you want to say it. Their main center forward, the main man up top, Christopher Nkunku. I want to talk about his future, just because, obviously he signed that deal to go to Chelsea at the end of the season. He's an insane player in the Bundesliga. He's just doing great, he's a great young player, and he shows a lot of potential. You could say the same beforehand for people like Mudryk, for people like Enzo Fernandez, and all these other people who signed for Chelsea, and they're really not showing anything right now. Like Mudryk is, I think he literally had just one assist. Enzo Fernandez, I don't know exactly what his stats were or stats are currently, but I know it's nothing great. I don't think he's got a goal yet. I don't know how many assists. I can't guess it's a lot because Chelsea are on a really bad run of form.
Yeah, I mean, I see him doing well, but like we all said that when all these other players signed for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is now, when the Bundesliga season's over, he's gonna go and play for Chelsea, and he's gonna have a full off season to get to know the guys. Chemistry with the team is one of the most important things.
Mm-hmm.
You could have one little problem between two players, and it could cause the entire team to fall apart. So I think that once they get their chemistry together, once they have a whole off season together,
yeah,
I think we're gonna see the true potential from this team, and they also need to get the right manager in check for them. But once they do all that, it's going to be a lot of hard work. But if the players are willing to put it forward, the manager's willing to put it forward, the owner, then they have more talent than I think any team in the Prem, other than maybe Man City.
It's a pretty big stretch.
The talent's there.
So obviously, Chelsea had all these signings in the January transfer window and in the off season last season. Who do you think they are still going to spend heavy in this transfer market, or do you think maybe Todd Bowley realizes he's a psychopath and just stops spending so much money?
I wouldn't call him a psychopath per se. I don't think they're going to spend nearly as much money, but I think that they're not happy with where they're finishing this Premier League season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they know the talent they have on their roster now, and they're going to go after smaller players, younger players that they can build, players that can learn from these older players now. But I do see them spending some money, not nearly $300 million.
Yeah,
but
it was actually 600.
It was 600 million. 300. I thought it was 300. It's 600 million. That's a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to spend that much, but I think that they will still go out and spend money on younger players to help provide long-term success for the club.
Chelsea predictions for next season.
I kind of gave it to you already.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're going to get together in the off-season, and they're going to become more of a team and less of individual players. So I could see them finishing top 5, top 3 next season. But it would take a lot of hard work and a lot of team bonding to really do that.
All right. Next up, I want to talk about the Champions League final. So we have Inter Milan. They just beat AC Milan 3-0 on aggregate. Did really well, and now they're going against Man City, who were able to beat Real Madrid 4-0, 5-1 on aggregate. And, everyone is behind Inter Milan. Like, no one wants to see Man City win the Champions League. And do you think Inter Milan will be able to do it?
No.
Or do you just solely think that Man City are going to rip them apart?
I think we all know who the better club is.
Inter Milan.
And if we're being realistic with ourselves, we all know who the better club is, the better team is.
Inter Milan.
Are you saying that because you're an Arsenal fan?
Yes.
I think we all deep down inside know that Man City is the best club in the world right now. I think that they're going to get the treble. I think they're going to win the Champions League. They already won the Premier League. And I think that they will win the FA Cup final. And does it hurt me to say that? Yes. But realistically, the better club and the better side is Man City.
So, obviously, I love an underdog story. And I would love to see Inter Milan do it. But, realistically, you just have to look at logistics and, just the obvious. And it's not looking good for them.
Not at all.
But let's hope Lautaro Martinez can pull through, and let's just hope Lukaku can pull through. Looking for a Lukaku masterclass.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Mm-hmm. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but there's going to be almost no chance.
Yeah.
It's possible, but not plausible.
Mm-hmm.
I think Man City's going to win 3-1. Yeah, they're probably gonna finish it 3-1.
3-1 on aggregate, or 3-1 just the first
3-1 aggregate, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe 4-1. I think they might get an extra goal when they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say I'd feel comfortable saying it's gonna be 3-1 because AC Milan does have a really good defense.
Inter
Milan, same thing. They do have a really good defense, but I can't see them stopping Man City completely.
All right, let's go to Ivan Toney. Now, everyone, I've seen stuff on Twitter. Rest in peace, Ivan Toney. His career is over.
Not nearly.
As you know, he was gambling and betting on himself and broke just FA rules, and he officially was suspended for 8 months, which is pretty much like a whole season. Do you think he should be suspended for longer or shorter, or what do you think?
I think it was a fair suspension. We talked about this in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And although players have had harsher suspensions for this, players have had less suspensions for this, I think it's a fair suspension. He's a great player, truthfully, and he was betting on himself.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't betting against his team. If he was, then I think he should be banned for life. But he was betting on himself and his team. That shows trust in his team. Was it the wrong thing to do? Yes.
Yes. Fair.
Did he break the rules? Yes. So I think the suspension's fair. Now, was he suspended from all activities, all football activities?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, truthfully, that 8-month suspension turns into a 10 to 12-month suspension because he has to get his body back in form. He has to get football ready again. So I think it's more than a fair suspension, and I think that he should be happy with what he got, and I think that fans should be happy with what he got, because, for him it could have been a lot worse, but for the fans, I think we get to see that these players that break the rules do get consequences against them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Obviously, Ivan Toney is such an informed striker right now, one of the best strikers in the Prem. One of my favorite players in the Prem. He broke the rule 236 times. Like, it just sucks, but I feel like it's definitely realistic. The 8 months, I was surprised he didn't get longer. I don't know how he's going to be able to come back from this. Like, being gone for that long and then coming back after is just going to be hard for him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult.
Especially to get back in form and to even want to go back and play again. It's just going to suck.
Well, here's what he's probably going to do. He's probably going to get ready, and is his contract up with his team? Okay, so he's still under contract. He's going to train with the team. They're going to probably send him on loan to another club for the rest of that one season when he's finally able to come back, so that he can get his form right with that team. And then he's going to go back to Brentford, and he's going to probably be the same type of player he was before. I don't see it really affecting his career that much in the long term, other than his overall stats. It's going to look like an entire season was missing, because an entire season will be missing.
All right. Last thing. That's like a main talking point. Jurgen Klopp was suspended from the touchline, standing on the sidelines during the games, like as a coach, and he was fined 75,000 euros for the comments he made on the Tottenham game. What do you think on that? And do you think like maybe that is it an overreaction or what are you thinking?
I didn't hear what he said. But what I will say from hearing other sports, I know in the NBA, if an owner or a coach is in an interview and uses vulgar language, then it's a $20,000 fine. And then if they do it again, it goes up to a $50,000 fine. So that'd be, if they do it twice, they're sitting at about $70,000, which is about where he's at. So I don't think it's unfair. Again, I didn't hear what he said, but if he's using vulgar language, I do understand. But being suspended from the touchline, is that serious? Like, is that a serious thing or?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah. I mean, does he deserve it? You think? I can't comment on it personally because I didn't hear what he said.
I personally don't think. I think it's a big overreaction. Maybe the fine and just that, because that could affect Liverpool, and just how they play. Maybe they are more pressurized, or it's just it doesn't feel right to them because they're playing differently to how they would normally play. But yeah, I think it was just definitely a big overreaction with what he got fined.
So he was suspended for 2 matches, right? That's the rest of the season?
Rest of the season, yeah.
Okay.
One of them already happened.
At this point, it's kind of like, is it going to affect them that much?
I mean, they're fighting right now for Champions League, so yeah.
Where are they sitting in the table currently?
Fifth.
So they need if they win, then they're in. If they lose, then they're out. Yeah, pretty much. So.
And they just tied Aston Villa 1-1.
I think maybe this is kind of FIFA's way to show, like, you have to follow our rules or else your team will have serious consequences. So maybe they're using him more of an example for other teams and other managers to see, like, we have to act in the proper way.
Yeah.
So a bit of an overreaction, yes, I think. But I understand where FIFA's coming from because they want their people to follow their rules.
Gotcha.
So people probably won't do it in the future because they can see what it can do to a club.
Yeah. I think that's it for soccer.
All right, moving on. Do you want to jump into the NBA? We can jump into MLB. We can even touch on hockey really quickly.
Let's touch on hockey.
All right, so we haven't talked about hockey much, but currently in the NHL playoffs, we have the Vegas Knights up 2-0 in their series in a best-of-7 series. And we have the Panthers up against the Hurricanes 2-0 as well. This is the series that then decides who goes to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Panthers are playing absolutely amazing. Do you have any predictions for who you think is going to win these series and then the Stanley Cup Finals?
I feel like it's just going to stay, even how it is right now. The 2 victories, them 2 will,
move
on. And that would be the Golden Knights and the Hurricanes, right?
Yeah.
I can definitely see the Golden Knights taking that one.
The Panthers.
Panthers?
Yeah.
Oh, Golden Knights and the Panthers, I can definitely see Golden Knights taking that.
Yeah, I could see the Panthers winning and I think they're both going to win their series, but I think that between the Golden Knights and the Panthers, they're both great sides. I think it's going to go 7 games in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I think we're probably going to see the Panthers come out on top. One thing I like about hockey that I don't talk about, I'm not a big fan of the sport. I just haven't been able to get into it. But in every sport that I watch, they have, like, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they got their own Lombardi to take home, their own trophy.
Yeah.
And the Stanley Cup is the only Stanley Cup ever made. So you literally get that trophy, and if you don't win again the next season, they take it away from you. So I think it gives, like, the players and the owners, like, an extra push to keep that trophy, because it's kind of like it's a special thing to have because you can lose it the very next season.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not a big fan of hockey, but just wanted to touch up on it real quick. And as we get closer to the end of the season, we're going to touch up on it more. Moving on, I think we're just going to touch up on basketball.
Yep.
So in the NBA, I'm a little less sad than last week. I've gotten over it a little bit. I'm happy with what the Sixers did, we officially fired Doc Rivers, the ex-coach. And I think that was the right move for us. Clearly, after all the seasons with him not getting out of the second round, it was time to make a move. So the Sixers let go of Doc Rivers. How do you feel about the move?
I definitely think it's definitely realistic. Doc Rivers has, in my opinion, just been bang average. Like, nothing really special. They make it to the playoffs and then they just fall short the same exact time every single year.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely time to change things up and look towards the future.
Yeah, and the NBA is one of the hardest places to keep your job as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 3 of the last 4 head coaches that have won the championship have been fired already. So, like, if you don't win, your job is very short term. Mm. Like, you have to prove that you can win. And Doc Rivers, throughout his entire career, hasn't proved that. And with the way they played in Game 7, he didn't deserve to keep his job, in my opinion. So now, moving on past the Sixers, we'll look at them later in the offseason probably. The Miami Heat, I didn't predict this. I said that whoever won the Sixers-Celtics series would be moving on to the finals.
Yeah.
The Heat are up 3-0 in that series to the Celtics, going into a Game 4 in Miami. Do you think Miami sweeps? Do you think Boston forces a Game 5? Or do you think it's over?
I think it's over. I think Miami is just going to take it. I don't really see anything. Celtics, they're just not good. Like, right now, they're just not doing good.
Definitely not playing well.
You saw last night when they lost by what was it?
20-something?
Yeah, 20 plus. They were just sluggish. They weren't really giving it 100%.
I completely agree.
And I can just see the Heat easily going through, and the Nuggets also easily going through, who are also
up 3-0 in their series.
Which it's very similar to the NHL, how those two are.
Yeah, and it's so shocking because the series before that, Miami did run through the Knicks pretty easily. Mm-hmm. They showed that they were the better team in that series, which I think most of us thought they would. Mm. But the Sixers and the Celtics, 2 of the best teams in the league that people would say, they went at it to 7 games, and now that team that came out on top in that series just completely falls down, it feels like.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers, they put up a huge fight against the Warriors. It was only 6 games, but they end up winning that series in 6. So that series is lengthier. And both of those teams just playing like they don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. It's kind of sad to see in a way, but I'm happy to see the Celtics lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this point, I think it's safe to say that the finals is going to be between the Heat and the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But what would you rather see? Jimmy Butler get his first ring, or in any possibility, LeBron go back to the finals, come back from 3-0 down and win his final championship? What would you be more excited for this season?
I would obviously. You don't like LeBron that much.
Yeah, I hate him.
But I actually really like LeBron, and I think it would be great to see him win his last ring. But at the same time, I think Jimmy Butler just deserves his ring more. Like, give him his flowers, give him everything. And, you've heard that
Never heard that saying.
No?
Never heard that saying.
Well,
I understand. I feel like it's probably with a play and stuff. Like, after a play, you give someone flowers.
Give him his credibility.
No, I would much rather see Jimmy Butler win his first championship because he's a player who's gone through every stage of his career. Like he was on the Bulls and played great for them. And then he went to the Timberwolves and had a lot of issues there. Came to Philadelphia and had a chance to win a championship with us after a heartbreaking shot.
Wish we never would have got rid of him.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. And then went to Miami and then got destroyed in the finals by LeBron and the Lakers in the bubble. So look, he's always just been a player that fights, not just he doesn't, not throwing hands, but he fights to be able to play basketball. Like, it seems like he truly loves the game, and I really hope that he gets his first championship this year, especially since he's probably going to be playing Jokic, who I absolutely hate.
Yeah, they've got a big rivalry between them.
Yeah, after the Markieff Morris push from Jokic, Jimmy Butler was heated, and
very.
I mean, and I'm happy to see that. You know, it's if those are the two teams playing in the finals, it's going to bring energy the entire series.
Yeah.
But just Butler standing up for his teammate like that, it shows how much of a team they are and how much they care about each other, which is extremely important. So, if LeBron gets swept, do you think it affects his career at all? Do you think he do you think it could change when he wants to stop playing, or do you think it pushes him harder?
I don't think. Me personally, I don't think it affects his career, but I think it affects his mentality. I think maybe he might even seek out other options. You never know. He could look for a trade. He could look for anything in the up-and-coming season.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just changes the way he's going to think about his future.
See, I disagree completely. I think if anything, it affects his legacy in the long term. You know, when people think back on him, they're obviously going to think about how great he was. But anybody who likes to join the debate of who is better, Michael or LeBron, they're going to bring that up if he gets swept in this series. And it's going to be a big talking point about the end of his career, I think. But I think he's at the stage in his career where this won't affect his mentality. I think at this point, it's less about the basketball and more about just playing to play. Like, he doesn't care about the wins and losses. I think he's just there to kind of have fun, which is good for him. But I think throughout these playoffs, we have seen that he hasn't brought the same mentality that he has. Like, I feel like playoff Bron hasn't really existed the past couple of years.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that he is older. You know, he's not the same young player as he used to be. So that's why I don't really feel like it should affect his legacy or should affect or be like a huge talking point. I think maybe a small talking point, maybe something that they could kind of mention and people be like, oh, all right, I guess. But I don't think it's something that would be used in a full-on debate of GOAT status.
I'd say just because he's known as one of the greatest of all time, you can't let yourself get swept on one of the biggest stages. You know, he got swept in the finals.
Yeah. He's
gotten swept now it's looking like he might get swept in the Western Conference Finals. That's two of the biggest stages you can lose on or you can win on. And getting swept, especially on your home court, Game 4 is going to be on his home court.
Yeah.
If he doesn't find a way to win that game, I think it honestly makes you look at him and say he couldn't win a single game on one of the biggest stages against a team. The Nuggets are a good team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But a team that defensively is very lackadaisical. Not very good defensively. Not very good defensively. You know, they can score a lot of points, but their defense isn't great. And to not even be able to put up enough points to beat them once, I think, would have me looking at him in a different light.
I gotcha. All right, I want to talk to you about Mr. Victor Wembanyama. Now, we saw that the Spurs got number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
I'm excited for that.
You're a Spurs fan?
No, but Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all time.
That's true. I do like him.
And he's going to be able to coach one of the youngest and a player that's a generational talent. We haven't seen a player like him at all. You know, he's a 7-footer who can shoot lights out. The closest comparison to him is Embiid and Jokic, the way he can shoot the ball, pass the ball. And I think he can do it better than both of them.
It's crazy.
And he's being coached by one of the greatest coaches of all time. And on that coaching staff is one of the most fundamental players of all time, nicknamed Mr. Fundamental, Tim Duncan. I think that this coaching staff maybe won't coach him to a championship, but will give him the skills to become one of the best players in the league within the next couple years. I'm excited.
So, in your opinion, will he get a chip in the first 5 years?
If he stays in San Antonio, probably not. But I think that if he, depending on how long of a contract he signs, I think he has the talent to. Maybe, I think he has the talent to as the number one option on his team. But I don't think that the Spurs are going to surround him with the right people. So I think if he looks for a different option, a different team, then I can definitely see him winning a chip in his first 5 years.
Let's say the Spurs do a complete rebuild, right? And they're rebuilding around Victor Wembanyama. What players and what type of players do you think they would need to build around him?
They wouldn't need Damian Lillard, but they would need a player like Damian Lillard. They would need a player very, very similar to Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is one of the most true point guards in the league. The way he's willing to pass the ball and not always be the first option on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a player that can shoot lights out like Damian Lillard, and you get a player that is willing to give up the ball like Chris Paul, they're both hungry to win.
Yeah.
Neither of them have won a championship. You're probably not going to be able to go out and get those guys. You'd have to give up so much for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But players like that, surrounding him with players like that, I think he could win a championship.
Gotcha. Do you have anything else for basketball? You want to do predictions on the finals?
I want to wait until we get to that point next week, just because I think it's quite clear who's going to be playing there, but I think we could do a little bit of more of an exciting thing for the actual finals once it gets there.
Gotcha.
Do you have anything else you want to touch up on for basketball?
Not really. I think that we pretty much covered everything.
All right, so we're going to jump into boxing. We only have a couple things to cover.
Yep.
So if you want to take that away, it's all you.
All right, let's go down a little bit. Down to the lower ranks of boxing. KSI and Joe Fournier had that fight, and it officially was called a no contest, which means that
They take the win away from him.
yeah, but at the same time he didn't lose.
Right, it's just
So there's no effect on either of their records.
Is it like there's not a match at all?
Pretty much.
I disagree.
So, we talked about it last week. He threw the punch, kind of lead into it, hits him right under the elbow, and Joe Fournier goes down. I think KSI was going to knock him out either way. He just caught him with a right hook. And something also a little strange. His fight against Pineda was also deemed a no contest because of multiple hits in the back of the head.
How long ago was that fight?
That fight was not too long ago, I believe. I don't remember exactly what month it was in, but I know it wasn't that long ago. It was 2023. So, yeah, it was... Basically, Pineda kept, rubbing the back of his head like he got hit on the back of the head, but he wasn't really getting hit on the back of the head. He sort of was just getting hit right here, and he kept just rubbing the back of his head, but they still deemed it a no contest.
Maybe he had a little itch.
That's another thing that went on KSI's record now that he doesn't have.
So that's 2 wins taken off his record?
Pretty much.
That's a tough blow. That's a tough week for him.
That's a huge blow. KSI, in my opinion, he's a decent boxer. I don't think he's the best, but I think he's, decent. I think Jake Paul is better in my opinion. But I personally like KSI better. I think he's a better, entertainer, and I can see how the one with Joe Fournier got ruled a no contest, but I can't really see how the one with Pineda got ruled a no contest.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I wasn't able to watch the fight between him and Pineda, but I feel like that's a decision that has to be made within the week. I think it should be a Like, you call your winner that night.
Mm-hmm.
It goes under review. If there is something that could be suspicious, but after a couple of weeks, a month even,
It was a lot longer than a month.
it should be like there shouldn't be any discussion about it.
Yeah.
So it really sucks for KSI. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch the fight. I'll go back and watch some of the clips, see if there's anything that I could understand why they called it off. But I'd say after that long, they should have left it alone. Because I didn't hear anything about that until you just brought it up right now.
Yeah.
So, tough blow for KSI, but I can see the most recent fight why they would deem that a no contest.
Mm-hmm. So, KSI, Joe Fournier, they were going back and forth. You know, had the press conferences. Were going at each other. Now it seems as if KSI has already moved on and he is focused more on Tommy Fury now. We talked about that fight, I think, in the first episode, I believe
so, yeah.
And we talked about how we both thought Tommy Fury would win.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Do you think, looking towards the future right now and looking towards Tommy Fury is what KSI should be doing? Or do you think he should go back and maybe get that rematch with Joe Fournier and knock him out properly?
I'd say he could. I think he could do either.
Mm-hmm.
But KSI has to decide what's more important to him. You know, if he believes he truthfully won that fight fairly, then you move on to your next opponent.
Yeah.
If he has any doubt that the no contest is fair, like if any part of him is like, yeah, I guess I understand why they took it away from me, then he should get his rematch. But if he believes he won that fight fairly, he should look to the future because there's no point in weighing on the past when the future is there.
Gotcha. Now, would you personally want to see a rematch?
I'm going to be honest, I thought that KSI had that fight since it started. He came out and I felt like he was just the better fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He might have just had his better night, but I wouldn't be too excited for a rematch because I think we saw who the better fighter was there.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there was a rematch, we'd see pretty much the same type of fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be too excited for it. I want to see
Gotcha.
something new.
Moving on to UFC. This is huge. Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley are officially headlining UFC 292 for the 135-pound belt. Sugar Sean has just continuously beat people. I think he's 14-0, 13-0, or something like that. Aljamain Sterling has had the title for a decent amount of time, and they're both just insane, just great fighters. What are your predictions going into that, and are you excited for it?
I'm excited. I think I'm excited, but I also think that Sugar Sean's just going to go out there and wipe the floor.
Really?
And I know that's a bold prediction because they're both great fighters.
Yeah.
But I think he's just so much more powerful than anybody in that weight class. Like, I could see him get in there, and I feel like if he connects on one punch, one really good one, I could see him taking down Sterling very quickly. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way. But my prediction is Sugar Sean comes out on top pretty handily, pretty obviously that he's going to win, in my opinion.
We saw the fight. Well, I saw the fight with Peter Yan. I thought he kind of struggled a little bit more than he did on his other fights, and I know for a fact that Aljamain Sterling would just wipe the floor with Peter Yan. So I'm a little worried for Sugar Sean. I really like him. He's a great fighter. But I think it'll be really close, and I think if it's a knockout, it's a huge knockout, and I can really see it going either way. But if I had to pick, personally, I want Sugar Sean to win, but in my opinion, I think Sterling might take this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting my money line down on Sugar Sean to win this one.
Gotcha.
Anything else for boxing, for UFC?
That's all good.
All right. Moving on, you want to talk about the MLB? All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is Bryce Harper He's only been back for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Made a huge impact for the team so far. But something happened on the field with him. The bench is cleared.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on what happened? He was in the dugout, heard something said, and immediately came running out of the dugout. What do you think?
I think that guy, he tried to fight to nobody and was probably just, I don't know exactly what they said to each other, but I know Bryce Harper is very heated at times.
Yeah, can be for sure.
I definitely think, so I don't really know if it was justified or not. But yeah, I just feel like I don't, we don't know enough to really put a statement on it.
Yeah.
But I know Harper looked really heated and really pissed off. So I feel like the pitcher's name was Bird or something like that. I feel like he definitely had to have done something.
I always think that that's like the best thing in sports. Like I love the fighting in hockey. I love when there's a huge crowd on the pitch. But when the baseball bench is clear, it's one of the most exciting things in all of sports, in my opinion. So that was just exciting to watch. I don't know what was said. I don't know if it's justified on either end. But I think it's good for the sport. And I think they both had a laugh about it probably after the game.
I don't think so. I think
By the end of the series, they probably both were laughing a little bit. Maybe not to each other, but
yeah, no.
With the rest of the guys in the clubhouse, they were probably making jokes, laughing about it.
Yeah. Bryce Harper is a great player, so I don't really see it affecting him too much.
Certainly not.
I think he's gonna be great, just as great as he was last season. And yeah, I just see him continuing on in the season, doing well, and that other nobody that he was arguing with just goes back to being a nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call him a nobody. He is a solid pitcher.
What's his name?
Bird.
What's his first name?
Birdman.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, I don't know, but I only really know too much about the Phillies. Then I can't really comment on other teams a ton, other than when we're doing a little bit of research for this for these episodes. But his ERA is pretty decent. I wouldn't call him a nobody, but he's certainly not. You're not going to go buy his jersey.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and buy his jersey. Another player. This happened a couple weeks ago. Aaron Judge. What's your opinion on what happened with him? His accusers. Do you think it's right? Do you think they're wrong?
So Aaron Judge was accused of cheating because I think it was because he looked over his shoulder when he was swinging, I believe. We can fact check that, but he looked over his shoulder and looked like he was like talking to someone while he was swinging. I feel like the announcers really were reaching with that one by saying that he was cheating.
Yeah, I think so.
The announcers even calling him out on cheating during live TV is, in my opinion, crazy.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You have to stay professional. Even if you do think it or think you see something, you can't accuse someone of something of that altitude.
No, I completely
on
agree.
live TV.
Although, it's not the most far-fetched things. We see teams and players try to take advantage of the rules all the time. I don't think Aaron Judge is like that. I think he holds himself to a higher standard. But we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. It's not even under investigation, so the league didn't think it's the league doesn't think it's anything serious. But this season with talking about cheating, there's been a lot of sticky stuff. You know, pitchers using the grip. We heard about it a few years ago, and then it kind of went away for a couple of years. You didn't hear too much about it. This year, there's already been 3 or 4 guys caught with the stuff. Why do you think it's coming back? What do you think of the pitchers that are using it? Do you think that they should? What do you think their penalty should be? Fine, suspension. Like, what do you think the consequences should be for that?
I personally think it should be suspension, no doubt. I don't really know why it's coming back. but I feel like it's just dumb. Like, you can get caught at any point in time. Like, it's not hard to tell, really. And, if the umpire comes up and, like, he comes and checks the ball and he's going like this and the ball is sticking to his hand, then, it's obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it should definitely be certain suspension.
Any length of suspension specifically? Do you think it should vary between a starting pitcher who can only pitch once every 7 days, different between a relief pitcher who can pitch every night and a closer who can pitch every night, or just same suspension for every player?
Same suspension. I think it should definitely be a good amount of length. I don't think maybe a whole season, but maybe they play a lot of matches games, sorry. They still got my soccer mindset on. But they play a lot of games within a short amount of time. So I can say 2-3 months.
2-3 months is fair. Yeah, I agree. I think it should vary, though, for the starting pitchers.
Uh-huh.
You can't just say, all right, this is a 3-month suspension, because they only pitch 8-9 times in those 3 months, where a starting relief pitcher could pitch 40 times in that 3 month. So I think it should be more of like a games. You have to sit the next 10 games, and for a starting pitcher, the next 10 available games they would be available for, to sit the next 30 games you'd be available for, because that would probably be about the same amount of time, maybe a little bit of different length, but I think if you just give everyone the same exact suspension, it's not as fair. Any fines should be involved, or is it just suspension?
Suspensions?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fines. I feel like it's just the league trying to get their money back. But you got to make money somehow. You got to make money moves.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch up on baseball before we get to the standings? Anything specific?
Nope.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the standings. This time last week, the Phillies were number 2 in the NL East. And they went on a bit of skid, fell all the way back to number 4 again.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that they dropped a couple spots? Are you, they're back in the win column. I believe they're playing right now currently while we're recording. I'm not 100% sure. But they're on a 2-game winning streak. Can you see them continuing that streak, or just what are your opinions on us falling back again?
So, one of my friends pointed out that what happens with the Phillies is they go on a hot streak and then
go on a really cold streak.
Yeah, so basically what happens is they score just a shit ton in a game. I'm talking 14 or anywhere from a lot to an insane amount, to then next game they can't score a single run and then they're getting blown out. Or maybe they win by 1, it's a 1-0 win, or they go from one day they can just put 14 against someone, next day they can only hit 2 runs, or maybe even get 1 hit the whole game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They're very inconsistent.
Yeah.
But I think that it's still early in the season. We're 40 games in now, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on the team. But I think that eventually they're going to get their consistency back. Trey Turner's been on a huge poor offensive attack. But, he's one of the best players in the league. He's going to find his form. You have Kyle Schwarber. He's been horrible. He's batting 2-something. Yeah. Absolutely horrible. He's going to get it back.
Except for that more recent game, he just hit a grand slam.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He has those glimpses that show how good he is. It's almost June. He's ready to start hitting. Harper's back now. His first couple games back, he was 0 and now he's hitting 3-something since he's been back.
Yeah.
So you're going to get these players that are going to start going on these runs that, it feels like when one player is cold, the whole team is. But you're going to see that eventually the players are going to get back into their normal games. So I'm not too concerned because it happens with every team almost every year.
Yeah.
But, you see right now we have the standings pulled up for us in the NL East. between the best team in our division and the worst team, it's only 9 games, which seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But over 162 games, 9 games isn't a lot. So by the middle of June, you're going to see the teams start to separate from each other. But right now, it's still early enough in the year where bad teams are going to get wins. Good teams are going to get losses.
Yeah.
So I'm not too surprised. I'm not too worried. Are you concerned at all? Or do you know that in time, or do you feel in time that we're going to come back to where we should be?
I don't want to be concerned, but sometimes the Phillies are a little shaky, sometimes they're not. I can definitely see them, getting a hot streak, getting a bunch of wins, and pushing back up that bracket, but at the same time, they've also gone down the bracket and went down in standings, so they've really just showed signs of they can do both, go down and fall in a slump, or go up and fall into a hot streak. But personally, I think that if we want to fall into that hot streak, we have to do it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say soon, but I think by June you're going to start seeing how good the team can be.
Yeah.
We're almost there. But the exact same division standings that it was the first episode. We have the Braves on top, followed by the Mets, the Marlins, the Phillies, and the Nationals for the NL East. And then in the Central, we have the Brewers, who are now at the top of that division.
Mm-hmm.
The Pirates fell back to second. Cubs, Reds, and the Cardinals sitting right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then in the NL West, you see the Dodgers on top. No shocks. Absolutely great team. Padres. Sorry, they are not playing as well. The Diamondbacks are sitting at second, still playing a lot better than I thought they would. One of our hometown kids is on that team, so I'm excited to see that him pan out. Buddy Kennedy.
Yep.
So he's still very young. He spent a lot of time in the minors, so I'm excited for him to get an opportunity up there with that team. Hopefully they can make a playoff push. I think that'd be really exciting. At least one Millville kid will be able to play in the playoffs if the Angels aren't to make it.
Yeah.
But followed by the Giants, the Padres, and at the bottom of the division, no shocks.
Rockies.
The Rockies. Absolutely horrible. Do you want to comment on the Rockies at all and just how bad they've been? Or are you not shocked at all?
I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah.
They're just not a good team. They're just not anything
Special.
Yeah. But, at the same time, maybe last season we say that about the Diamondbacks, and, now they're having a good season. So I feel like if maybe they try and change something up, maybe that's why the Diamondbacks are doing so good. They changed something up, did something different. Would I like to see the Rockies do good? Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't like them. No. Moving over to the American League, we're going to start in the AL East. We have the Rays, Orioles, Yankees, the Red Sox, and then the Blue Jays. I was trying to remember it off the top of my head. That division is just so good that remembering the standings perfectly is difficult because they all are above 500, so they're fluctuating throughout the day, it feels like.
Rays above 700.
Yeah, the Rays are 706. Insane. It's still early in the season. They're gonna fall though.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, I don't really care if they do or not. That doesn't affect me today. Moving on to the AL Central, we have the Twins, Tigers, Guardians, White Sox, and we have the Kansas City Royals.
Yep.
I'm glad that Kansas City's team sucks because I don't like the Chiefs very much. They hurt my feelings a lot. And then in the AL West, we have the Rangers still on top of that division. Their pitching has just been amazing this year, and I can't see them losing that spot even to the Astros or the Angels. And then the Mariners and the Oakland Athletics, who are literally just the worst franchise of all time, it feels like.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Angels could make a playoff push? They're in the American League, who already has a division that's all above 500, and they're third in their division behind the reigning World Series champions and the Texas Rangers, whose pitching is almost unhittable. Or do you think it's going to be another season of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani putting up insane stats and still missing the playoffs?
I feel like it's going to be the second one. Just another Angels, just Ohtani and Mike Trout just...
Yeah, I mean, they're above 500, but the American League is just such a great league as a general. And then you have the AL East. All those teams are above 500. So not only do they have to stay above 500, playing against the Astros and the Rangers more than any team in baseball.
Yeah.
But they also have to play the Yankees every once in a while. They have to go play the Red Sox, the Orioles. So it's not going to be fun for them whatsoever. But I think if they really wanted to, as a team, I think that they could find a way to push for the playoffs. But I don't see it happening this year. Hopefully, we get to see it within the next few years.
Yeah.
I think that rounds out our baseball section. One thing I do want to talk about is we're going to be going to a Phillies game coming up on this Wednesday. Do a little fan meetup.
That's not happening.
I'll post on our TikTok what section, what inning, if anyone wants to show up, take some pictures. That'd be cool. And just get some clips for you guys from one of the regular season games. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Premier League for a minute.
Okay.
Just for a second, I don't want to make you cry, but Arsenal has officially not won the Premier League. Man City is officially the Prem champion, with Arsenal losing. How do you feel? And just be honest. Without using any vulgar language, please.
Obviously, I'm pissed. Obviously, I'm not going to be happy. Man City are just a great team. But what I don't like is when people call us bottle jobs and saying we bottled the league. We, coming into the season, last season we were 5th. Coming into this season to come second with the youngest team in the Prem is insane. Also, to beat Man City, you have to get 95 points in the league. No normal team gets 95 points except Man City. There's no...
I think they're calling it more of a bottle job, not because Man City won so many games, but because our last 7 games, we've had a few draws. The last 2 games, we've had 3 losses, if you include the Man City loss. We were ahead for so much of the season because we were able to get these wins. And then against teams that we truthfully should have beaten, and especially when we know what's on the line, we were so close. Take that 2 draw and say Saka makes that penalty. That's another win. You expect to lose to Man City, so we're not mad about that. Last week, losing 3-0 to Brighton. That's a game you expect to win. This week, losing 1-0, we expect to win that game.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a bottle job not because we didn't score 95 points this season.
No, that's not. Don't score 95 points. Get 95 points.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying score is your final, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, but we didn't get 95 points this season. But because we were so close to that point and then lost games that we should have won. At the beginning of the year, we were winning games that I didn't think we had we should have even been in.
Yeah.
And then we bottled it at the end. We played so well to get us there, and then lost it at the end. That's what I think the bottle job is.
I still think, like I was saying, this is something that Mark Goldbridge said. To be able to get 95 points in the league is extraordinary. That's something not normal teams do. Only teams like Man City can do. Teams with, all that money, all that just talent can do. I'm not saying Arsenal don't have talent, but we just simply aren't as good as Man City, and we can't get that 95 points with, the young team that we have. Don't get me wrong, we are still the best team in London, but we're just simply not yet as good as Man City to be able to get over 95 points, which is what you need to do to beat them.
Yeah. Now, I understand what you're saying, but being so close is what makes it feel like a bottle job to me. And it's not that we that we didn't win, but it's that we lost to teams that we should have beaten.
Gotcha.
So many times. And it was only at the end of the season. Like, if we would have had that 1-0 loss that we had today in the first 3 weeks of the season, whatever. It's early in the year. But having it so late in the season when you know what's on the line is what I feel like makes it even worse. Did anybody else officially get relegated?
No. Oh, wait. No, yeah. So it's, Leicester.
Leicester has officially been relegated.
It's not official, but it's
pretty much official.
Yeah. Like,
but you heard it here first.
The bottom half is Southampton, Leicester, and Leicester are a good margin behind.
Yeah, it'd be
Everton
pretty much a miracle at this point.
in Leeds. So it's either, and I hate to say this, it's either Everton or Leeds. I really like both of their teams. Sean Dyche is a great manager. You know, he just came in he just came in to Everton and just changed the whole entire vibe, and he's just an all-around great manager. And Everton really started doing great things. And then all of a sudden, you know, Leeds, they fall off a little bit, and Leeds has, you know, a good amount of Americans, Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie. And I would just hate to see either of them get relegated, but
I'm really hoping Leeds stays up.
It really looks like this is going to come down to the last week. But if I had to guess, it's going to be Southampton. Obviously, Southampton, that's already final. Leicester, which that's pretty much final. And Leeds.
Leeds is going to win it. They got it. They have to stay up. If Tyler Adams wouldn't have gotten hurt, I think they'd be clearing away from getting relegated. But it hurts me. I think Leeds is gonna stay up though.
Gotcha.
I hope. Maybe it's just me wanting them to because I'm an American. But I hope they stay up. I want them to stay up.
Yeah.
And they're a good enough club to be playing in the Prem.
Yeah.
When healthy, they're not one of the best, but they're a good enough team to be playing in the Prem. So I think that's really all we want to talk about for sports in general.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of drafts I want to do.
Okay.
Best video game draft.
Ooh.
Sports video game draft.
Sports video game? Okay.
So if you're saying FIFA, you have to take this specific FIFA, like FIFA 20, FIFA 19, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I'll give you honor since I'm the one that came up with the draft, if you want to start us off.
This is a hard one because you get there's two big ones that I'm looking at. And it's just a really tough one, but I'm going to go. Give me FIFA 17.
That was going to be mine.
17 was just such a good year. It was just prime MSN at that time. Maybe not prime, but like the MSN at that time, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Oh, it was just a great.
Yeah, that was a great game. With my pick, I'm gonna go with a Madden game. I'm not sure which one I want to take yet. I think I'm gonna go Madden 13.
Okay.
Madden 13. I have a secret number one that I'm not using as number one because I know you have no idea what game it is. So Madden 13 is my official one.
All right. I'm gonna go and take. Some of these piss me off, but. Give me 2K23.
23 sucks. Have you played it all?
A little bit.
It sucks. I'm gonna take 2K20. One of the best 2Ks in recent memory. I'm gonna take if you don't take the next one, then I'm gonna take the next one next. But 2K20 is really when I started playing with the boys. Late night park sessions, and the memories I have to that game is what brings it up to my 2 pick. But I know there's a lot of kids out there who have the same memories I do, so I'm gonna take that in my two.
Okay, and number 3, give me WWE 2K18.
Okay.
That is just an all-around great game
Yeah, definitely a fun game.
and just fun to play.
It is fun. I never really got into the WWE as a whole, and I didn't play their games too much. But whenever I was out at my cousins, we would play. So it was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna go with 2K17, NBA 2K17. That's the first one I really played a lot.
Uh-huh.
Paul George on the cover, just straight up iconic music.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite memories playing that game.
Okay, so
Now you're in the 4.
number 4. Give me UFC 4.
UFC 4?
Yeah, the one that we're on now.
I didn't even know they had a 4th one that came out. I only knew about 3 of them.
We're on 4 right now, so
All right, I'm finally gonna
UFC 4.
take my favorite sports game of all time.
Oh wait, I know what this is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Give me MLB
Oh no.
2K13. Now, if you guys have ever played that game, you understand why. I feel like we're gonna have some comments talking about how good of a pick this was, because it's the greatest pick in human history.
Nah.
What do you think I was gonna take?
I thought you were gonna take PGA Tour.
No. It's mid.
Do we count skate as a sport game?
I'd say no.
What?
You could take Tony Hawk Underground Skating, but Skate 2 and Skate are not real sports games.
Come on.
You know I'm right.
Give me. I want to go with a Madden, but at the same time, I can't really.
You don't know which ones are the best.
Yeah, I
You haven't
can't
played
think
too
of
much.
any good ones. I'm gonna go with the safe option. God. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the safe option. Give me FIFA 16.
FIFA 16? Alright, so I'm looking at my roster. I have basketball, I have football, I have baseball. I want to round out my roster and take a FIFA. But you have a bunch of combat sports, so I need to combat that somehow. So I'm gonna go to a hockey game. You know, there's a little bit of fighting.
I didn't think of that.
It's not the most played game, but it's extremely fun. Give me NHL 13. You get a look.
13s over there.
Dude, the 13s were elite. And it's when I was really in my childhood when I first started playing all these games. So it's like true real memories right there, core memories playing these games. So let us know who you guys think won. And one more draft I want to do. It's gonna be best movies. Doesn't have to be sports movie, any movie. Just the best ones you can think of.
Yep.
I'm gonna go first since I let you go first last time. My number one movie. This is already so difficult. There's so many great movies.
Now I'm trying to think.
And I feel like regardless of what I take, there's always a better one out there. So I'm going to start off with an absolute classic. Give me Avengers, just the original Avengers. It's my personal favorite.
That's a good one.
Because it really started and kicked off everything for that series. So that's my personal number one.
Alright. Now, this is a movie that has... It's just a great movie. Number one, give me Whiplash.
Is it a great movie?
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Movie. It has J.K. Simmons in it and Miles Teller.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah.
In my two, I'm gonna go with Avengers Endgame.
Bro, he's taking all the Avengers.
Listen, if you compare those up, it's an absolutely impossible to beat them if I'm able to pair them together. So why not pair them together when I have a chance?
Okay. This is some hard choices, because you could pick a movie, then you think about it, and you're like, oh, there's a better movie.
I feel like you already regret that Whiplash.
Nope,
like
I don't. I don't regret it. That's a great movie. I love that movie. I just want to go with a classic one that everyone really likes. Give me Titanic. Titanic 2.
Have you ever seen it?
Nope. But everyone loves Titanic.
Have you ever seen it?
No. Doesn't matter. It's one of the best movies of all time.
Have you ever seen it?
No, but that has nothing to do with me.
How do you know it's a great movie if you never watched it?
Because everyone loves it.
Dude, the movie's horrible. I
That's
don't
your
like
opinion,
it.
but that's
all right.
because it's you, dude, and you hate everything.
Moving on to a movie that I love. Absolutely love this movie. For the lovebirds out there, we're gonna go The Fault in Our Stars. Gotta switch the tone.
Okay.
It's a better movie than the Titanic, so easily.
All right, don't do it again. At number 3. I'm gonna go kids movie.
I feel like I know what you're gonna take.
Number 3. This is a movie that everyone loves.
Oh, please don't take it.
Number 3, give me Toy Story.
Yes! I'm okay with you taking that. In my 4, give me the best kids movie of all time. Give me Cars, Lightning McQueen, Ka-Chow. I'm beating you to the finish line.
No way,
I am the
bro.
finish line. Jeez. Horrible pick. Toy Story, good pick, but not. You had Cars on the board and you sold.
way.
You sold.
Toy Story is way better than Cars, and we know it.
You sold. 100% sold.
At number 3. No, not 3. 4. At number 4, give me a good Marvel movie. Give me Age of Ultron.
All right.
Now we all know it's not the best one. Oh wait, no, I'm taking it back.
No, you
Come
said
on.
it.
No,
You said it.
No.
In my 5, I'm gonna take Infinity War.
That's not what I wanted.
And pair up that trifecta. All right, fine. You can change yours, and I'm not gonna change mine.
Civil War.
Okay, that's fine. I just paired up the 3 best Avengers movies of all time. Into the 5.
Number 5. Give me a kids movie masterpiece. Give me Ratatouille.
Dude, I didn't like it. I didn't like it growing up. Now I can watch it and be like, all right, it's not bad. But when I was growing up, it was scary to me.
It's a masterpiece.
It scared me watching it. Kind of weird. All right. Anything else we want to touch on today?
Nope.
I think we're ready to close it out. But before we do, we have to talk about how to enter the contest.
Yep.
So the rules, you have to be subscribed, like this video, and comment. And then for an additional entry, you can follow us on our TikTok and comment on a video. We're going to post the rules on our TikTok as well. So just leave a comment and like the video on YouTube. And then for an additional entry, just comment on our new TikTok post, which will be live by the time this video is posted.
Yep.
And then next week, we're going to do live on camera. We're going to spin the wheel to announce the winner. And then we're going to have Buttery.Soles reach out to you guys directly on how to get your $25 gift card to Buttery.Soles. Again, their Instagram's right here. Our TikTok's right here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I think we're all good.
Yep.
Yeah, bitch so bad I wanna shoot like hoops.